So, question of the day: you have that fellow Whovian, or you yourself had been wanting to start your Doctor Who journey and wanted to start somewhere. This is the most commonly asked question that we have when we go to panels, when we have conventions, and usually just something on the social media. Some people will ask me. The biggest question is where to start. So tonight, we're going to be trying to answer that question. And what we're going to do is give you guys a starter pack from episodes that we think would be the best gateway drug to get you or your fellow friend who, potential Whovian, to start watching Doctor Who. So here it is, folks. And now, my fellow Whovians, stand by. My name is Christian Basil, and this is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. And again, fellow Whovians, welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil, and today we're going to be assembling for you to help you out get that friend of yours, a future Whovian, or you yourself may want to be wanting to start Doctor Who. We're going to be assembling a starter kit for you of episodes that we think will be the, well, for a better term, the gateway drug to get your friends in or yourself there. My name is Christian Basil, and here are my friends today. Hello, everybody. Welcome there. First of all, we're going to start with Melanie Dean. How you doing there, Melanie?
Doing well. How is everybody else doing? Hopefully out there in the Whoniverse, and that's who our friends in Wizard World who are probably kind of watching here and going, all right, so what is this Doctor Who show I keep hearing about?
What is this Doctor Who show? Or is like, you know what? I got a friend. I got to get him into Doctor Who, and I don't know how. I don't know why. So we're going to give you some suggestions.
And there's no conventions to go to drag them to just watch the awesome cosplay to go, look, see, you want to get into this.
This is the place that you're in lockdown, or you're in a place where you just can't get going and you want to start your adventures. We're going to give you some suggestions today there. And I'm speaking suggestions, best segue in the world. Kevo Reese from Husbands Talking More or Less podcast. How you doing there, Kevo? Welcome back.
Good. I love your segues, Christian. Don't put yourself down.
Oh, I can do that by myself. If I'm going to be good at one thing, let it be bad segues over there. How you doing there, Kevin?
There you go. Doing good. Holding in like everyone else. Excited to talk starter packs on Doctor Who. I like sampler or sample platter.
I love that you came up with sampler platter. Now, I enlarged you for one good reason, because I want to see that T-shirt you're wearing. That looks awesome.
Oh, yeah. I've had this for some time now.
A Powerpuff 10th Doctor's mashup.
It's Martha, Rose, and Donna from the end of Series 4 as the Powerpuff Girls, with the 10th Doctor as the Professor standing behind them, and a really cool stylized TARDIS. I love this shirt. I've had it a very long time.
That is awesome. Oh, well, welcome, Kevo. Thank you for joining us there. Shall we bring him in? We're hoping this will work.
Let's try again.
I actually see movement.
It's working.
The disappearing, reappearing Richard Ashton.
Wait a minute, let's not jinx it. It's not working. It stinks. It's just broken.
Quick, introduce him, Christian.
Yeah. Speaking of introductions, we're going to introduce our favorite ice warrior, Mr. Richard Ashton. How you doing there, Richard? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here. Sorry about that.
That's fine. No, that's fine. Okay. We're going to be going over our favorite, well, I should say our sampler episodes, as Kevo put it, our sampler platter episodes to help people start their journey into Doctor Who. So Richard Ashton knows better because he's actually been in Doctor Who, and he played the Ice Warrior during the Empress of Mars.
Indeed.
There you go. So Richard knows what he's talking about over there. Let me switch him off. Bring him up to the center there. Speaking of the center, Dr. Freedom himself, Brian Burress. Welcome to the show there again, Brian. How you doing there, sir?
Oh, hanging in there. How about everybody else out there? How are they doing tonight?
Surviving there, sir. Surviving. Jody's getting... For those of you who are listening to the audio, I hate to say, Jody's getting shinier in your background.
Yeah, I know. It's the lighting.
Got a glow.
One of these days I'll get it right where you can actually see all of her face. I just got to get her positioned properly one of these days. Wait a minute. That didn't sound right.
That's nice.
That sounded wrong, didn't it? Okay.
No worries there. So
I'm sure she's on board.
She is on board. I just there was a question that's been going around every time I go to a convention, every time there's a panel, there's people who ask me on social media. For those of you just joining us on the Wizard World channel and the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, hello, Michaela Jade. There's a question going around that, I have a friend or I want to start with Doctor Who, and we don't know exactly where to start. We don't know where to go. What do we do? So the five of us have brought in suggestions. We want to welcome everybody who's just joined us with Wizard World and the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. So you're joining us up on the Facebook page. If you're joining us on Twitter, if you're joining us on Twitch or on the YouTube, welcome there. Definitely I want to go ahead and get things started. So anybody want to volunteer? What we're going to do is give you one episode from all of us. That would be a great way, the gateway drug to get your friends into Doctor Who. Anybody want to volunteer to go first?
Um,
Brian, I'm going to go ahead and bring you up over here. So, Brian, there you go. You brought in an episode. Tell us the episode and tell us a little bit about why you think this would be a great episode.
I, of course, chose Rose. And every time everyone asks me that question, why do you, which episode would you recommend? And I said, because Rose is a great starting on point because it covers pretty much all the basics you need to know at the beginning, about the TARDIS and whatnot. And then it builds up onto the Doctor's character as you go along to the first season, and also lets you in on a lot of good things. So, I always say, look, start with Rose, go forward. And if you ever feel, the need that you want to go back later, and see classic era or thing like that, then, once you're, say, got a couple seasons in, then go back and take a look, and see what the classic era was all about. But yeah, as far as modern era, and with things that are going now and the way they're doing the show, I always recommend Rose because it's just all the basics are right there for you.
Yeah, and I think I usually point to Rose, even though, strangely enough, I tell people if you're going to watch Rose, then you got to watch The End of the World. Then you got to stick around for The Unquiet Dead and make sure you get to Dalek, because I know some people, when it comes to Doctor Who and getting started, those two first episodes might be a little bit quirky to get through. Because we all started with Rose when the reboot came up there, but a lot of people have gone on to other episodes or have jumped in with either Jodie or Peter or David. Mm-hmm. But Rose, I think, is kind of a good example because that's where the reboot started. So if you're going to start over with Doctor Who, it's kind of hard to get people into the classic series as a jumping off point. But Richard, you were able to do that. So Richard, tell us a little bit about the episode that you picked and why.
Okay. Quick preface. You're always diving in. You're always jumping into something new.
Right.
And we can go on forever about the shows that it's like and the shows that you're diving in. And hopefully, having got somebody in, they'll swim one way and swim the other. And they'll follow the timelines of characters and actors and all the rest of it. And in the end, I had to discard all my other clever academic ideas and just start with the one that I remember best when I would be just not quite 8 years old. And that was The Green Death. Because it represents classic Who in that sense. Mm-hmm. It represents immediate threat to the world, this case caused by the malfeasance of human beings. And it's an action story. It very much is to do with the nuts and bolts of an action story. So there isn't too much kind of mysterious science or anything mystical. A lot of it revolves around very contemporary action tropes like mine shafts and lifts and cutting gear. And in the middle of all this really grimy 70s socio-realistic drama, there's giant glowing green maggots. And if that isn't a perfect encapsulation, like a big Easter egg full of goodies, Doctor Who, I don't know what is. Because, you know, the Doctor's earthbound and he's racing around in Bessie and you know, okay, he's got a special status, but everything's very real. And I love it too, because it represents the social conscience writing of the set, my early childhood. You know, we grew up with this stuff. We grew up with dystopian end of the world dramas. Most of our, even the young kids' fiction on British telly was about the end of the world. And here we are, in, you know, somebody for their own ends is doing something they shouldn't be doing with mining waste, and this has created the Japanese came up with Godzilla,
right?
The BBC came up with giant maggots.
Well, not only that, one of the things
it knocks your socks off.
one of the things I loved about the Green Death. Oh, sorry. Yeah, one of the things I loved about the Green Death is that well over a decade before Skynet, you had the boss.
Exactly. All of that lovely foreshadowing. And then, you know, as a tiny little theme through through the whole story, and then coming out at the end, is this idea that the Doctor can go to Metabilis 3, on which there are amazing blue jewels, and of course that ends up being one of our Deus Ex Machina, you know, ways of solving the problem. And in the middle of it all, an allegory of discovering penicillin, which of course is Joe, who knocks over the slide, and the boyfriend or putative boyfriend is annoyed with her. But of course, that's what creates the discovery in an exact analog of how Fleming discovered penicillin. So it even gets us back to, you know, historical Doctor Who and trying to explain history. The more you unpack Green Death, the more it looks backwards and forwards into Doctor Who. And I'm getting quite excited about it now.
So I'm not going to watch it.
I was so frightened. Everyone says I shouldn't watch it again. All of what I'm saying to you is from memory from 1973, right? That's how much I remember it. And maybe if I went back, I wouldn't find the maggots scary and I'd find other things funny. But I think that sense of dread. And then, of course, right at the end, totally blowing away the idea that Doctor Who was never romantic or Doctor Who never had affection for people is the heartbreak of Joe leaving.
Right.
And going off with some bloke, you know, some boyfriend. Ridiculous.
How dare she?
And so I think it has everything in it. I've never asked Katie about it, actually, because I felt so cheated as a kid that she napped off with some useless geezer with wing collars and floppy hair. You know?
It's not the fact that they took Joe from the Third Doctor. They took Joe away from you.
Yes.
You couldn't have Joe anymore.
Yeah. and it's taken me all this time to get her back, and now Katie's back, and I'm so happy about that.
And definitely, if you get a chance to check it out, there's been a ton of Big Finish, but I've seen a promo with Katie in Masterful, and I'm like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was a picture of, was it Missy and Katie or something like that? I got to check out the picture. I just saw a promo picture. I was like, oh my God.
Right. I know I've seen a promo shot of Michelle and them together when they were down at Moat Studios. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the funny thing is, I didn't see the Green Death until after I listened to the Big Finish Torchwood: The Green Life, which was the direct sequel, because it's got Katie in it, and they got John Barrowman in it, so they're revisiting the Green Death. So that's when I went back and went, okay, I have to see the origin story of this, and the two just really married together beautifully.
Oh yeah, they nailed the characterizations. Not only John and Katie, John and Katie nailed their characters, but they nailed their relationship of how their differences were clashing with each other, and how in this particular moment they had to work together to solve it. And
well, it was also neat seeing Jo back then and her mindset and where she was in the world, and then kind of revisiting that and seeing how the character has grown in different ways, and also has remained to certain things that are core, and just kind of to see the complement, the how it complemented one another with this one character's just arc through life.
Yeah.
Sure.
And folks, if you're just joining us, welcome. For those of you at Wizard World, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, whether you're watching us on the YouTube channel, welcome. You also have a chance to chat. We're going to bring up the chats after the commercial break in just a few moments. We're going to continue our starter kit, Doctor Who starter kit, for those of you who are starting with Doctor Who, or those of you who are trying to get your friends in the Doctor Who. We're giving you suggestions. We're going to be returning in just a few moments. Please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and become part of the legend.
Bateman.
What's the Bateman?
A novel set in Florida, written by Florida author D.L. Havlin. Suspense, mystery, and murder.
Evidence is in the bait.
The Bateman is available at local bookstores and online.
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today. Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today. Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish.
Santa, if there's one thing I want for Christmas more than anything, it's someone to spend Christmas with. Someone who really wants me to be there.
Head to the mountains of East Tennessee with romance author Jenna Hart for a Christmas writer's workshop. Since her mother passed after a long illness, Jenna has had one wish. She doesn't want to spend Christmas alone. Meeting Niccolo Maldini, cover model and actor, could make more than Jenna's Christmas wish come true. Unless Ember, Niccolo's ex-girlfriend, does something crazy to stop them from being together. It's a mountain Christmas romance you won't want to miss in Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish. Now on Amazon.com.
Well, if you're joining us on the Wizard World Facebook page, the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS Facebook page on our Twitch channel, or the HWWS Media of Family on YouTube, don't thank us, thank our friends over at Geek Insider, geekinsider.com. Subscribe today.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
Hey, just joining us, folks. Welcome back to Diesel. Today we are putting together a starter kit for your friends or for yourself, for those of you who are trying to get into Doctor Who but just don't know which episodes to start with, or if you're trying to get your friends into Doctor Who and don't know which episode to start with. We're going to give you a sample platter, as our good friend Kevo Reese has mentioned there. Speaking of which, Kevo, you're going to be up to speed, but Melanie, if you want to bring up the chats, go for it. I know we had some suggestions that came in through the chats there. But in the meantime, Kevo. Oh, okay. Faith Kelly, our good 13th Doctor cosplayer, she says the God Complex.
It's an interesting one.
And Willow Schuyler from Willow's Pillow Talk with the WWS team. Then a friend sat me down and showed me the Weeping Angels episode and the Vashta Narada. I was sold, but still unsure of being a fan. Okay. That's an interesting one. So you watch Doctor Who, but you're not a fan. Okay, I got it there.
Does not compute.
Does not compute that. Well, I think you can enjoy it. Okay, then I actually watched it on Netflix and realized Who was great, and it opened up my imagination again. Okay, there we go. So
you're a WHOvian, you're hooked.
You're a WHOvian, yeah. There's two people type of what was it? There's two types of people in the world: those who watch Doctor Who and those who haven't yet. So like, I think that is the case there. Speaking of which, Kevo, you had an episode in mind. Which episode? And tell us a little bit about it as to why it should be added to the starter kit.
Well, to start, I love this topic so much. I think about these questions a lot, how to catch people up on shows more quickly, especially when they've reached the number of episodes they have. Like Richard pointed out, you're always diving in. Now you're even diving in late to the new stuff. There's been 166 episodes since it came back in 2005. So, I had to really think about what my answer would be, and I didn't want to answer like my favorite or even what I thought would be the best episode of Doctor Who, and rather I answered Series 8, Episode 6, The Caretaker, which is the episode where the Doctor goes undercover as a caretaker at Clara's school, and hijinks ensue. I really, really felt like this one had from the revival in the last decade rather than anything from 2005, because I love Rose too, but even that's really old by now. This was the episode that I found had the most of the Doctor tropes. It has the Doctor working undercover on a mystery. It has a deeply alien antagonist, the companion juggling their real life and the alien adventures, the companion's at-home person discovering their secret life and then becoming involved in an adventure. There's a grand reveal of the TARDIS. There's kids, especially an extra cheeky one, and there's tons of comedy and action. So, it really hits a lot of Doctor Who things. The only thing that I think it really misses was a point Richard made about history being important. But this was also at a really deep valley in Doctor Who having historical adventures, unfortunately. There was nothing between Day of the Doctor and now the 13th Doctor. So that's my answer.
I also think it gave us a little bit, because when we first started out with Deep Breath with Peter Capaldi, I didn't know what to make of him. He was a little bit too harsh and abrasive. And this episode really opened to me that Peter wanted to have a good time, and that banter between him and Clara was one of the most fun banters. I mean, when Clara asked him, it's like, is there an alien at the school? Yeah, he goes, yeah, it's me. Just to brush her off. I mean, things like that. And she goes, are you busy? He goes, yeah, there's a serious puddle. I mean, he's just pushing her off to do your thing. I'm not here. Do what you're supposed to do. And that kid with the bow tie looks kind of like my predecessor, whatever.
Yeah, but that must be the one she has feelings for, obviously. The one like I did.
So... But I kind of find I didn't get a chance in I think the first couple episodes with Peter to see the humor, and there was a little bit with Deep Breath. I remember the one scene with the horse, and he goes I'm going to be taking your pet, and the guy goes, what are you saying? He goes, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the horse. So I mean, there was some of those intros into the humor, but that scene between the two of them, the banter, I could see where it would be nice to have the humor there. Everybody's thoughts on that? Oh, Faith says Claire is how can I act normal when you aren't acting normal to the Doctor? Yeah, exactly. There. Everybody's thoughts on that, and we'll just anybody's thoughts on the caretaker episode as far as the gateway drug in?
Go away, humans. No.
What's that? What was that note that he had on the door? I forgot. Remember that?
He put so many out there. I can only remember carolers will be criticized from Husbands of River Song.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the caretaker, him being the caretaker of the school, really kind of showed off to, I think, the audience. Say, look, he is not going to be a slapsticky kind of comedic doctor. He really shone as very dry wit. It was, I mean, with between the notes, how he interacted with Clara, and then acted like the other, like the cheeky kind of scroll girl was like, you know, when she gets to go on the TARDIS and then throws up. And he's like, you know, just all those little asides that were just perfect little one-liners were hilarious, but they're not, you know, slapstick kind of, you need a laugh track kind of hilarity. And I think that kind of showed the audience of, look, if you're still unsure what this doctor's about, this is the type of comedy. These are the jokes, kids. Come on. Move on.
Like, I don't think it's the best episode. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Richard.
No.
No, please, by all means. I talked so much already.
I was only going to make a little point about all the way across Who, because of where it sits in programming. You know, a lot of people for a long time thought it was a children's program. Obviously, it then got a bigger budget and it took a different place in the schedule. But also, if you look at the people who they chose to be the Doctor, there was often a question mark. You know, John Pertwee was a total light comedian. He was a big star on radio in silly, slapstick, nonsense stuff. But then William Hartnell had been known for his real hard-bitten army roles. And I think they always had to have a thing of, hey, this is what you're going to get. Don't worry, we know what we're doing. And with Peter, we'd most recently seen was Malcolm Tucker in the thick of it, if you're familiar with that.
Yes.
There's even a thing that's been running around on YouTube, which is very funny because it's the sweary doctor and all that. But honestly, that was the first hill they had to climb. And most people didn't remember him from Local Hero and stuff like that, knowing what an amazing comedian he is, as well as a great actor. So I think there's always that laying of a calling card. And I think you were saying that it isn't the best episode. No, it's not. But it had a lot to do, had a lot to achieve. And I thought it did it quite quickly. Whereas perhaps other transitions, we were still left unsure of how much comedy we were going to get and how much drama we were going to get. And I think they maybe learned a lesson from some of it. It's tricky because the show speaks across such a broad age range and also across a number of genres. It's a tough one.
You see, here's an interesting take on what Kevin brought up. If I were to introduce somebody to Peter Capaldi, it would not even be the earlier ones, or I would pick the caretaker. I wouldn't even probably get, to say the best of Peter Capaldi until he gets into his later year, until he starts growing out the hair, pulls out the guitar, and goes completely bonkers. Yeah, when he's finally calmed down from being the grumpy old doctor to the grunge, guitar doctor, and just having a great time. And I feel as much as, I kind of take on Claire because I think she kind of stayed too long there. I always thought Nardole and the 12th Doctor worked out as a pair team, hearkening back to what Troughton and Fraser Hines did together as the buddy teammates. I thought Matt Lucas and Peter Capaldi did so well. So I always kind of, I feel like I have to stray people from the earlier side. It's just like go watch the later stuff and then come back and watch Peter's earlier stuff, and then it'll start to make sense. Otherwise, I feel like they're going to get a bad taste in their mouth if they go right into deep breath. Here's a question I want to pose, and I think I'm gonna maybe Melanie, I can put. I don't know about Kevo, but Richard and Brian, do you remember the first episode that you watched in Doctor Who? Do you remember which episode that was?
Yeah, very clearly. It was the Sontaran experiment.
Okay. Richard, do you remember your first episode?
Yes, I do. It was Spearhead from Space.
It was Spearheads. I can't. And I asked that question on the Traveling TARDIS page, and a lot of people who grew up with me with PBS can't remember either. And I'm just like, I always defaulted to Robot. And then I had to seriously sit down and go, was it really Robot that was the first episode that I watched? Or am I just saying that because I don't know?
Didn't you get them out of order and quite mixed about?
Yeah, I think that's probably part of it. It's like asking a millennial what was their first episode of Saved by the Bell. They ran them all in random order so many times that we saw all of them so many times. It's really hard to say. So if that's how you got into Doctor Who, that makes sense to me that you wouldn't fully remember. It's more which one made the strongest imprint on you, the earliest.
Yep.
Yeah, the PBS channel that I was watching, they actually ran it in order. But I can't tell you which episode started, but because it went, they ran it from Robot to Logopolis. But if you told me, okay, so where did it start? I say Robot. I've always said Robot, but then I sat back and I was reading the comments of everybody who grew up on PBS. And it's always the people who were PBS watchers. They can't remember the first episode. It was so long ago. Mm-hmm. But I've always said Robot. Maybe I've been wrong. I remember the Centauran Experiment. What's the one where... Oh God! Sarah Jane's face comes off. It's a duplicate.
The Android Invasion.
The Android Invasion. I mean, I remember so many things, and it's just like I can't remember the episode. I wish I could go back in time and figure it out over there. I was just asking to see if you guys knew, because a lot of people who I asked did not know at all. So it was kind of weird there. Speaking of weird, go ahead.
I would just echo your kind of sentiment, because I know my dad would watch it, and I was pretty young then, and it was the PBS time and all that kind of stuff. So I only knew it was the Fourth Doctor. So I know it was different times of my attention span not exactly being right on for TV. And then at least something where I must have been kind of either in the room or whatever and started watching it, and then floating out doing whatever the heck my small mind did. And then after a while, it had to have been enough where Tom Baker, I know, got me, where my dad said that was one of the shows where I would start coming in, recognize who was on the screen, then, park my butt in front of the TV and watch with him. So that I do remember. So I can always point Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor, is my first Doctor. But as in an episode and everything, I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not just me. And not only that, I remember too that I felt bad because I used to watch Doctor Who. They used to play the entire episode. It wasn't like split up into 30-minute segments. I watched the full episode. I remember falling asleep. It was kind of slow at times. It was nothing bad. I would still watch it, but I fell asleep when I was a kid. I was just like, it got to those times where it was just like, I was a selfish kid because I wanted the Doctor. That's all I want. Don't give me the bad guys. Just throw them in. I want to see Tom Baker walking around all over the place and saying his witty lines and having it out with Sarah Jane or Leela or one of the Romanas or something like that. But that's just me. But speaking of just me and going out, we're going to be right back. We're just going to a commercial break. When we return, we're going to continue our discussion with the Doctor Who Starter Kit. Please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and be part of the legend.
Alien invaders enslave Earth,
unleashing hunters into the ruined wastes.
One young survivor struggles to elude their monsters, clinging to hope.
When he's stolen off the planet by a sarcastic starship AI, they pit their uneasy alliance against a treacherous galaxy.
Explore a whole new verse of barbarism and betrayal.
Wonder and adventure.
In the Scion series
by Michael J. Allen.
Beginning with Book 1, Scion Conquered Earth.
Available in print, ebook, and audio on Amazon.com.
Hi, I'm Claudia Christian with some exciting updates in the Sinclair Method world. First of all, we launched our new coaching page. It's yoursinclairmethod.com, so you can go there and book a session with one of our fabulous coaches. You can also reach that page by visiting c3foundation.org. It's at the top of the landing page of the website. The second piece of news is Journeys is out. Woohoo! This book has been a long time in the making, and it is available in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore, and there's a limited amount of signed copies at c3foundation.org. So get your copy of Journeys now and visit the coaching page for some wonderful support. If you're on the Sinclair Method, you can book a session with a variety of different coaches. Take care and be well.
now on Amazon.com. iCoin from author Jeremy Mosby. It's an alternate reality, and the leader of the planet iCoin is none other than Benjamin Franklin. When corrupt officials threaten not only iCoin but the Earth as well, an unlikely chosen one, Jeremy, must face dark foes to save the Earth and iCoin alike. Author Jeremy Mosby takes readers on a superhero's adventure through this compelling and imaginative alternate universe. Get iCoin on Amazon.com today.
Experience Samara's adventure as she imagines the people around her change into friendly cartoon animals right before her eyes. Journey with her in this poetic tale, My Cartoon Imagination at School.
And we're happy to announce that the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, we have exceeded 50,000 followers, and we have a ton of people who watch us every week on these on our Doctor Who, on our Legend of the Traveling TARDIS show there. And if you want to become part of the Legend and sponsor it, go right now. Well, after the show, go and email our friend Sage at sage@hangingwithshow.com, spelled HANGIN with show.com. You can also email myself, or if you need anything, Christian@hangingwithshow.com there. Also, we're working on it, but the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.com is making a comeback, and not only that, you will be able to purchase merchandise as well as get the rates. You can either email Sage, or we're going to have the rates posted on our website eventually, and it's going to be coming very shortly. So keep an eye on that. The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.com. It'll be returning very shortly, and you'll be able to subscribe there as well. Also, if you like merchandise, as I mentioned there, you can go to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS very shortly. .com very shortly. We'll have a link up there, but you can go to this link right now for threadless.com. We've got t-shirts, we've got mugs, we've got skateboards, we've got cell phones, you name it, face masks. We've got them out there for you. You can check it out at cool rates. I think there's a discounted rate going on. I think it's if you buy $40 or more, it's free shipping. I like it. So please. Oh, and Carleen says, all I can remember is the Doctor was Peter Davidson. Yeah, see, Carly, I can remember it's Tom Baker. And I've always told this story to people. It said once they announced PBS made more money and announced that the 5 Doctors was coming on, I flipped. That's why I don't even hold millennials accountable to when they tell me, you know what, Matt Smith is my favorite 3rd Doctor. Because I did not know Tom was 4 until they said, oh, here's 5th. And there's these other 3 too. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, that's great to know. Michelle Eisenberg, thanks for joining us. Love Baker, Hab Baker, Tennant, Smith, and Eccleston, part of my tattoo.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I was just thinking she's got the Mount Rushmore of Doctor Who going on there. You know?
There you go.
I love that.
If that is a Mount Rushmore, we need pictures. Daniel Schaefer Williams, my first was Rose. Yeah, I think everybody can safely say if they got into the series, their first one was Rose there. Nekobat, I started with Tom Baker's first episode because my younger son wanted me to knit him a scarf. I had the pattern from online and watched while knitting.
Cute.
Yeah, so talk about the beginning of a long journey in more ways than
exactly. Right. That's what took some time out there.
I can see that now. You didn't tell me this thing was going to be like 50 feet long.
And Faith Kelly, our 13th Doctor cosplayer, she said, wow. But it was Wedding of River Song, and I was so freaking confused. She came over the next day saying, I made a mistake and let me series 1 through 4. Okay.
Oh, I can't imagine watching that out of context. That would be an interesting episode. What episode would you never let someone watch?
What?
That would be up there.
That'll be the next show will be which episode should they never watch first, because then they never will watch again. That might be one of them.
What's going on this show?
Love and monsters. I'm sorry.
I was so confused and intrigued. Well, Faith, yeah, especially with the River Song, that's kind of hard to just halfway go into it. I kind of, and I hate to put this show down because because to me it was kind of confusing if you started in the middle. It was Torchwood Miracle Day, and I think people it didn't take off as well because it wasn't like Torchwood Prime that was in the UK, whereas you can come in the middle. and you got so involved with the characters and the situation, and they were kind of just one-offs. I mean, they didn't have like a chain of events going on at the same time, and I felt bad that I think it didn't catch on, because if you didn't see the episode from day one, if you came in on day 5, you were totally confused of what was going on out there and couldn't pick up. But that's just my opinion on that. What's up? Sure,
technically, Torchwood was my first episode of Doctor Who.
Really? Which one?
Oh, you started there.
I saw the clip from the episode Captain Jack Harkness in Series 1 of the 2 Captain Jacks dancing, and my 2007-year-old gay heart couldn't take how beautiful that was, and so I looked into this show, and I watched all of it in portions on YouTube. Like, at the time, that was a thing that I guess was okay. And so I watched all of Torchwood Series 1 first. And then my now husband, then classmate, said to me, you know, Torchwood is a spinoff of another show called Doctor Who. And I was like, no, it can't possibly be as good as Torchwood. And I was wrong. I was very wrong. But so I watched all of Series 1 of Torchwood first, and then Doctor Who Series 1 through the start of 3. And my first live episode was Utopia.
That's like kind of
no, not Utopia. The driving one.
Is that the one where he goes? What is that? That's a poodle. That's nice. Oh,
the one with the face of Bo and the freeway.
Gridlock.
It's even based on my area. It's based on the Holland Tunnel. So like you'd think I would remember. It's literally based on the Holland Tunnel.
So your entry into the Whoniverse was not even Doctor Who. It was Torchwood. And that brought you that's a really weird channel.
So that thing at the end of Series 1 where the Doctor shows up, I was like, who's this guy?
Who are you?
Which is kind of weird, because Torchwood was the code name they filmed the first of the new series under.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an anagram. That's like going to Epcot thinking that's Walt Disney World, and they go, by the way, there's this magic kingdom. There's this magic kingdom. There's this castle over here you may want to check out. I'm just like, well, wait a minute. Epcot was cool. What's this?
So that's just people referring to the Walt Disney World Resort as Disney. Like, I'm going to Disney, and they're like, what? Where are you going? Oh, that meaning they think Disney is Magic Kingdom. You're like, what? Pass holders go.
Yeah. Well, it's cast members too, because if you said I want to go to Disney, and you were trying not to be sarcastic, and I go, well, you're in it. Where would you like to go?
You realize that the people who say Disney are meaning the one with the castle.
It's the same thing as saying I'm in Orlando. Everybody thinks it's Walt Disney World. And I said, no, not even Orlando is Walt Disney World. Not even that, but Walt Disney World is Lake Buena Vista, the city of Lake Buena Vista. It's not even Orlando. It's just right on the outskirts of it. So.
If it's anything, it's Kissimmee.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's this. Yeah,
people not there now.
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Anyone?
There you go, Melanie.
Where do you people play?
Hello,
Melanie. You had an episode that you wanted to as your starter kit. What would you like? What did you want to add to the starter kit?
So my starter kit is an episode that I know some people love, other people hate. So people within the fandom is kind of divisive, oddly enough, and that's the one I'm picking for you to be, watch the first time, only because it's going to have not one, but it's going to have 2 and possibly more doctors. It also has a doctor that you've never seen before and you won't see again. So you should, if you've never seen Doctor Who, this was written for people that would be open arms to anyone who's never seen it before. So I think my episode would be the 50th anniversary special. So you have 10, you have 11, and you have the War Doctor. So if you have no idea who anybody is, don't worry. Nobody knew who one of those people was anyway. So, yes, later on we get some Big Finish, more of Sir John Hurt later on doing the War Doctor, but nobody knew what was going on. And if you don't know the series, you don't know what they didn't. Everything seemed to be more of an Easter egg or any type of callback, so that if you didn't know the callback, you're fine. So when the 11th Doctor goes over to and sees and spots a Fez and is just freaking out about it, all Doctor Who fans know, he's ubiquitously known for the Fez and the bow tie. But anybody else who's ever watching it just sees Clara going,
it's just funny.
Can you just walk away? And you're still going to get that joke. If
He's
you've
just
never
being
seen a
silly.
Zygon before, no worries. If you're a fan of Classic Who and you saw that the bad guys were Zygons, when they're walking around and underneath the Tower of London, and you're seeing all the different type of Easter eggs, like River's shoes and all these other things, and it's John Burrowman's
Vortex manipulator.
the vortex manipulator. You get these. They hit home. You know what they are. But if you don't, it's well written enough that you are fine to keep on going, and you're going to enjoy this story. And if it's something that you were into Classic Who, this is maybe your first time back into New Who, and you're trying it out, even though we're now at we were at the time into our third New Who Doctor and about to be teased our fourth one. The second you heard this man's voice, you were back in.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That is so feels. And for those of you listening to the audio version, it's Melanie's holding up a box. It's got the curator with the picture.
Actually, it's one of those kind of 3D ones where if the picture moves,
oh, it's a lenticular.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's I can't
Gallifrey
remember
Falls
the
no
name.
more.
Yeah, so it's the curator. So you heard Tom Baker's voice, and he kind of has that little fun nod where even now, when we're talking about the 13th Doctor, saying, "Hey, sometimes you'll revisit just all the familiar, all the familiar faces, but only the favorite ones." So you kind of have like this kind of little nod. So I'm always going to go with the 50th, and I know again some people who are really into Who when they saw it the first time. There's parts where they're just like, I do not like this. Other people, they loved it, but it has a bunch of doctors. You're going to at least learn a little bit more about regenerations a little and how each doctor, even though they're the same person, are kind of different. You're going to understand a little bit more of the timey-wimey kind of stuff. You're going to get a little bit of history. You're going to get a little bit of mystery, and it's just going to be a fun ride. And you don't have to watch anything before. You don't have to watch anything after. But I bet you when you watch this episode, you're going to want to then go, I want to see more. I want to see more.
So it's even though it is kind of a big, gigantic trove of Easter eggs that are just going left and right. There's so much going on. First of all, it can be its own one-off story that somebody could walk in and go, "Oh, okay." It's got so much going on that even if you don't understand it,
you will not be lost.
Well, not be lost, but you're like, okay, there's something going on here. I want to understand it, so you're hooked onto it. So good one on the 50th anniversary. I was hoping in the explanation because I was sitting there when you told me that was the day of the Doctor. I was going like, isn't there a little bit too much going on over there that might confuse people? But no, I mean, it was well written enough with what Moffat had to do with the 50th anniversary that you could kind of put the pieces together, even if you've never watched Doctor Who.
And if you have watched Doctor Who, I think the reasons that people don't like it, because they're like, well, what about this plot hole? Or what about this? So how come this callback isn't happening? You're not going to notice that. You're just going to see it for the good the good story that it is. If you just look at it as one movie.
So
and I like that you used the word movie. I think that's a really good way to describe the 50th anniversary special. It would probably be my secondary vote. I wouldn't have picked it first because, as Christian pointed out, the things that are kind of spoilery. But if you have a person who doesn't care, then that's not really something you're as worried about. There's so much canon, and there's even been so much canon since then that it's fine, but it really encapsulates so much of what Doctor Who is in one episode.
I would even go as far as say, I'm sorry. Let me put this quick in thought. I would even go as far as to say is, Kevo, even with all the Easter eggs and some spoilers, I'm the type of person that, I want to know about that. Let me go back and find out about that.
I've kind of had like 4 different people that I know, like from work and whatnot, on my recommendation said watch this one, and it was enough stuff where the intrigue was lit, where they did want to go back and go, okay, so this part happened. What is he talking about? I'm like, well, you go watch this, and this, and that'll make more sense. Oh, okay, and then. Or even, let's just face it, half the people just went onto YouTube and were like, explain this. Well, I don't understand. And they just started falling further down the rabbit hole. I'm like, okay, well, my job is done.
Is nobody going to ask me what my episode is?
No.
No, no one cares.
We don't care.
Nobody cares. Okay.
Tell us, Kristen, tell us.
Richard,
tell
will
us,
you
tell
ask me
us.
what my episode is?
Richard will ask him.
Richard, ask me.
I'll make Richard do it.
What episode would you show to somebody to get them to?
When we return from these commercials, we'll return. I will give you my answer.
That's why I knew he was going to do that.
Moments, and we've got our final commercial break. We'll return. I will reveal, and we'll go back to our chats in just a moment. Please continue to stay logged on. Tune in. Become part of the legend.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
This is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Also catch us on the HWWS Web TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and become part of the legend. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final segment of the Legend of the Traveling. Oh, we moved around a bit here.
No, we're gonna fix
My
that
name
right
is
now.
Christian Basil. We have the lovely Melanie Dean. You can check her stuff out at Instagram at Pieces of Melee. You can also check out her cooking stuff, her bakery. Is that no?
No, move on.
Oh, okay. Never mind that. We have the lovely Richard Ashton, who's your favorite ice warrior from the Empress of Mars there. Kevo Reese, you can check him out at Husbands Talking More or Less podcast. And speaking of podcasts, you can check out our good friend, Dr. Freedom, Brian Beres himself on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Anytime news drops, he's dropping it as well. And he's giving his opinion about it and no holds barred there. Speaking of no holds barred.
Segue.
Well, thank you. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it right. So anyway, if you're still with us, please, if you're still with us, if you're with us, please go ahead and you can continue to chat with us. Michelle says, "Bad Wolf." Is that where you started?
Okay. I think she's just saying memes, which is fair.
Gotcha. And Faith Kelly says the 50th is absolutely one of my favorite episodes. Jay Charam, yeah, thank you for joining us. You know, I really think you might. Because of. Yeah, that line still
every time.
Because that was the moment where anybody just went. They knew that voice.
I'm going to tell you this right now. If you ever watch a Disney film, if you really want the best audience reaction, go find out when the cast members are going to watch a Disney film. I watched Lilo and Stitch, and it was a bunch of my friends and all the cast members because it was premiering that day. And if you want the best reaction, and it's the same thing. If you want the best reaction to Doctor Who, I was in a restaurant. We were watching the 50th anniversary. And that moment where Tom Baker says those words, everybody lit up. Everybody.
There's so many reaction videos
like,
of that
Are you kidding me? Faith continues. I love rewatching Doctor Who with new people. You get to feel through them how it felt for you first. Yeah. All your reactions, gasping memories. Yeah. It always is a great thing to relive those memories, especially seeing it from now for the first time. It's the same thing I tell people when I go to Disney. I actually don't like going to Disney by myself. I like taking family. I like taking friends because I remember how much love I have for Disney when I see somebody else revisit what I couldn't go because I've been to it so many times. But watching somebody else's reaction for the first time when they watch Doctor Who or doing something or geeking out, it's something it's just a wonderful and passionate moment I love. Speaking of passionate and wonderful moments,
Your episode?
My episode. Actually,
Please.
Brian took it. It was Rose.
Oh.
So I had to go to my second favorite episode. This episode, I think, encompasses not only the best of Doctor Who, I think it encompassed something that Russell T Davies was implementing when he got into the reboot, and he said he wanted to add not only the brain, but the heart as well into Doctor Who. It's time travel. It's historical. It has all the timey-wimey stuff. It has aliens, and it has a heart-crushing story that if you are just human enough, if you have a soul, there is no way you're not going to walk out with a teary-eyed. And I pulled in Vincent and the Doctor.
Yeah.
It was just a wonderful episode to start. It has everything I think that encompasses all the best of the Doctor Who, and the relationship with Matt and Karen as they work together with that. And there's even that scene where Vincent can even realize that Amy is starting to cry up, but she doesn't know why. So those little Easter eggs, that little fun stuff. But it also goes into when Russell T Davies mentioned that there was going to be a heart in Doctor Who, when the issue of the suffering that Vincent had to go through his life there. And even in the end, the way it ended, nothing had changed. And he goes, no, things had changed. We made a difference. And even though the ending is still the same, we still made a difference in his life.
Bill Nighy's monologue at that end made me
Yeah,
bawl
exactly.
like a baby.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Him-
retribution.
Oh, my God.
Just tears just kept coming.
So
naughty boo-hoo crying.
I just love the fact he was there because he'd been offered the role, if I remember right, and he turned it down. I can't remember when it was. Bill Nye was offered the role of the Doctor at least once, I remember.
Is it Bill Nye or Bill Nye? I can't remember.
I think it's Bill Nye. It's
Nye.
pronounced the same as, is it Nye or is it Nye like Bill Nye the Science Guy?
People tend to say naive, but
okay. I wasn't sure. I just say Bill Nye. It's the easy way I remember.
No, that's fine. So what do you guys think of that being the gateway drug in the episode there?
I could see it.
Beautiful.
Oh, thanks, Faith.
Beautiful.
Oh, okay. Everybody's giving me kudos. on that. Okay.
It's a very touching, very beautiful episode. And yeah, to this day, when I watch it, I still get a tear in my eye at the end of it. It's very well done.
It's everything. It's Murray Gold's music. It's the writing of Stephen Moffat. It's the directing. It's their acting, their interaction. I don't want to say it's Doctor Who perfection, but if somebody said, "What's your Doctor Who perfect?" It's this, because everything is in there. Just like the 50th anniversary, as Melanie mentioned, all the stuff, everything is being. So you have Vincent the Doctor, historical. You have time travel, you have monsters, you have an alien. Even then, you feel bad for the alien, because the alien was just, it wasn't really the monster per se. It was just misunderstood. I mean, there was so much stuff in there, and I think that is the best. Watching them interact with Vincent was heartbreaking. The perfect ginger, the ultimate. Ginger.
Well, it really had great for what their budget is. The CG that they did was done very beautifully. So all the effects look beautiful, and then, I mean, the production design of it as well was really well. I mean, just like the image of with Amy there with amongst all the sunflowers and all those other just different. There was just lots of different aspects around that village that made it lock in to the time period, so you didn't feel like they were from a production aesthetic standpoint. It didn't look like they phoned anything home. It was really well done, so you really could jump into the story and be invested with this very real character. Especially if anybody that I know that's ever taken an art history class and loved it, or has ever likes to go to museums just for fun, this is the episode I would recommend to them to lock them in.
Yeah. Keppa, go ahead. What were you saying? Sorry.
I'd never known before, but so I wanted to look into who wrote the episode, and I hadn't realized that it was Richard Curtis, who wrote such films as Four Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill, Bridget Jones's Diary, and Love Actually, which also says a lot to me about both why Bill Nighy appeared in this episode.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And the heart behind it. You know, I think of that man's writing in those films, and yeah, I really see where the episode got a lot of its heart from him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wasn't Stephen Moffat. I got that wrong. I apologize.
He was the showrunner though, so he probably wrote half of it. That's what they do.
He gave the go ahead. So yeah,
Yeah, notes.
And on that note, does anybody have any final words? We're about to wrap up. I'm just going to. Oh, okay. We still got more chats. The reason I said Gone Complex is traditional Doctor Who monster running story. You meet 11, meet Amy and Rory, glimpse of little Amelia. So you feel it's more. He's met her before. Nice quotes, storytelling. Okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely there. For those of you, okay, and Joseph Rowe, thank you for joining us. Doctor Who is one of the best shows. My favorite 2 lines is not in the name of the Doctor, and it is a sad episode. This song is ending, but the story never ends. Oh yeah, gosh, the regeneration of David Tennant. Oh. Which I'm sorry, I still am at this day. I grew up classic. When the Doctor died, he dropped onto the ground, or he fell off the tower, or he just died.
Who are you?
Yeah, he's just
he wasn't always just happened to be in the TARDIS when it happened. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I want to thank everybody for joining us over here. Just for the special, for those of you just joining us over there, for those of you at Wizard World, you can check us out and see our classic episodes at facebook.com, the Traveling TARDIS. I got a little special picture for you. We have tons of pictures of the Traveling TARDIS, but we also have a ton of fun memes, and here's one of them right here, if you can see it. Yeah. All right. Nobody knows Airplane. God.
Oh yeah.
I know Airplane.
Yeah, the immortal Leslie Nielsen. Yep.
Yeah, the immortal Leslie Nielsen. I just want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on. So
I can actually hear that in his voice whenever I see memes like that.
It's very kind of scary there. For those of you just who want to continue the discussion, we're going to go right into the after party, but the audio is going to be ending in just a few seconds. We want to thank you all. I know it's been a rough 2020 start, but guys, hang out there. There's going to be more Doctor Who coming up over there, and please, whatever happens in this world, love each other. Be the positive. Be the thing that makes a difference to not only to yourself, but for other people. Don't be part of the negative out there. Try to be. I posted something personal on my Facebook page, and I told my friends, there you go.
There you go.
I love that. If I chose my friends not because of their political beliefs, not because of what they believed in. I chose them because I saw the best in them, and I still will choose my friends to this day. So, in a world right now that has just gone completely berserk, just be the difference. In a better cliche, say it's be the Doctor. Just live by the principles, and just I want you to stay safe, put a mask on, wash your hands, and just be kind to each other, as Peter Capaldi would say it there. What was that? Oh, is that sanitizer?
Yeah.
Airhead sanitizer? So it's
yep, always keep some right here on the desk. Yep.
You got it there. Well, folks, for everybody at Wizard World and at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to start the after party in a few seconds. Thank you. We're just going to continue the conversation. At this time, we're going to record the audio recording is going to an end. Thank you for joining us, and become part of the legend. There you go, folks, and welcome to the after party. If you got some chats, or if you want to bring up some little discussions, Richard Ashton is here. Iceman from the Empress of Mars. You have any questions for him? By all means, there, bring it up into the chats. I'm pulling up one of the chats because I'm being selfish. Terry MacGyver says, "Hey all, I got myself a Legend of the Traveling TARDIS t-shirt in the mail." Yeah. Good for you there, sir. That's right. Join us on the Threadlets. If you want to go to the legendofthetravelingtardis.com, the shop should be up, and you can get it. You want to get the merchandise and support the show, by all means, please go to the legendofthetravelingtardis.com out there. So I wanted to pull that up over there. All right. James Herman, the Doctor has 2 hearts, so they can give us 1. Okay. All right, Carly, thank you for joining us there. Yes, Faith. Laugh hard and be kind. Yes, absolutely. There. Yeah. Oh no, we got a lot of hearts coming in. I know, James. I know.
Don't call me Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley. Faith, you even get the quote. He's a madman in a box and glimpses the chart. Yeah. Wow. Oh gosh. So, do you guys think there's an episode that should still be added to our box? Is there an episode that we are missing or should have left out there? And I love, Richard, I love you bringing in because you brought in a classic episode, which is kind of the hardest thing to do with people today because it's just tech and all that. But let me ask Melanie and Kevo and Brian, if you're familiar with the classic series, is there a classic episode that you would toss into the box?
Recommend to me, please.
I was on mute. Genesis of the Daleks.
Genesis. Oh, okay, God, yeah, because I was thinking that too.
Yeah, great idea.
I was going to say Robot.
Robot's okay. Robot's pretty good. I meant that's the starter of Tom Baker anyway. But Genesis, the scene between Davros and the Fourth Doctor, and my friend Patty Hawkins, he goes, he's not threatening him or anything. They're two men of science and they're geeking out. And they're not even. It's not a threat. Just I forgot what I'm trying to remember the scene where it's like, "Doctor, speak to me, man. Scientist to scientist," or something to that nature. They're not even He's not even threatening him. He just wants to talk to him. He just wants to geek out because he finally thinks he met a person who's got the same mentality and wants to take his ideology and challenge it to him. So, but it ends in the way that it normally ends out there. Is there an episode also? Is there an episode that we are missing that could enter the box? Genesis of the Daleks. Brian, what would you toss in there?
Well, I said I'd toss in Robot because it's a good starting point for the Baker era. Plus, it kind of takes off on its own. And also, it's kind of a weird run, too, because, like I said, I started with a Sontaran experiment, and they didn't even have the TARDIS for that group of episodes, which kind of weirded me out later when they introduced it. But still, with the great storytelling and Robot and all that, it kind of takes off, becomes a movie all its own. Other than the very scene at the beginning where you see, Pertwee, Murphy, and the Baker, it kind of just, takes off on its own like a good movie, has a good plot. It kind of has that little the techno-terror type of, plot where a group of scientists are getting together to do something evil. Plus you have the big, robot that's misunderstood.
Right.
It turns out the poor robot's being misused. And then it turns out in the end, it had a conscience. It's a really good story, I think, for someone to start out if you're going to go classic.
And this is where we're actually being introduced to Tom Baker. So it's kind of also reintroducing a new Doctor at the same time that we're getting into a new story over there. I would throw in Castrovalva. You think that's a little bit too much?
I don't know. It is a beginning Doctor story, but yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Sorry, no. I'm sorry. No, not Castrovalva. Sorry. Caves of Androzani.
Oh, okay.
That's a very good story.
I would throw in there. Sorry, I got them mixed up. Caves of I don't think I would start them off with Castrovalva.
The best ever Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
Was it really? Caves of Androzani.
There is a tweet, I think, of Peter Davison making a very rude hand gesture, holding up the Doctor Who magazine poll award. Yes. But rather American gesture, I think. But,
okay. I was like, one finger or two.
Yeah, one finger or two. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was also what was it that Peter Davison he said in the he said one of the outtakes. No, I'm sorry. When they do the documentaries and that do that read along while you're watching the show, they're speaking. He mentioned that scene where he has to lay down right next to Nicola Bryant. He goes, that's some of his best acting because he couldn't pay attention to what was going on right next to him. He was trying to avoid what was going on. He goes, I think that's some of my best acting because I couldn't even look.
The round things.
Yeah, the round things. He could not look to his right. Yeah. He had to completely ignore it and go and die and regenerate. He goes, oh gosh, what would you think would be a gateway to Sylvester and Colin?
Oh, I don't want to say Sylvester's opener. I don't like that episode.
I couldn't pull out from the first season. I would probably pull from second.
Yeah.
Ghostlight is I would say Ghostlight, but it's a little bit too maybe
Battlefield. Because you really don't have to know much of the background lore other than the Brigadier to enjoy Battlefield.
I would say Curse of Fenric.
Oh, there's a great one. Yeah.
That one I would think because it also involves Ace's history. But Curse of Fenric, what do we do with McGann? He's got the one movie, poor guy.
It's go to Big Finish.
Night of the Doctor.
Night of the Doctor. Yeah. So you got two episodes. You got the Enemy Within and Night of the Doctor. Oh gosh, I still don't even know what it's not that Colin was really bad or anything like that, but it's kind of like
Trial of a Time Lord.
It would probably be Trial of the Time Lord. Which one though?
Yeah. It's just poor Colin got thrown a lot of bad scripts back there at the beginning,
and a bad costume.
He did. He did the best of what he could. Plus, later on in Big Finish, that man is now a god. Okay, on Big Finish, he really had a chance to flesh out his character and bring him around more and do the things he wanted to do with it. On top of the writing there, on Big Finish, like I said, he's a god. He really is. He's incredible.
He did a great. Well, he finally got to be.
He was a really big star before he did Doctor Who
with the brothers. Yeah,
he was like the housewife.
No, I didn't know.
Favorite smoldering young. He was in a massive series called The Brothers.
The Brothers,
and he played
Malcolm Sheeran.
Difficult, sexy, troublesome one. It was, and he would do that. He'd do difficult things. Because actually he was in serious dramas. So he walked into Doctor Who and said, great, I'll do my thing. I'll be difficult. I'll have a difficult character. And they weren't ready for that, I don't think.
Well, I think...
I did Panto with Colin.
It's just plus his opening episode. Sorry. It's plus his opening episode. They got him strangling the companion.
Baddie as well.
He played a bad guy. Criticizing for shooting the fifth Doctor to get his role, but I forgot what that was. It's an Omega episode, and I can't think of it. God,
Arc of Infinity.
Arc of Infinity. Yes, thank you. But he literally shoots Peter Davison, and he's the bad guy, and he's got the guard outfit on, and back then the helmet had this one feather that went up into the air. And
he's commander of the guards, Maxwell. Yeah.
Commander of the guards, Maxwell. But he goes he was trying to get through doors and stuff, and there's this one feather he can't get anywhere without the feather hitting stuff. So gosh, I don't know. I still, to this day, I think what should have happened with the first episode, they shouldn't have given like a full-on episode, because the twin dilemma kind of just if they were going to do character development for the Doctor, what it should have been just him and Perry, and that's it. And I think they should have been stuck in the TARDIS somewhere on the planet. And I think they should have developed. And if they were going to go with that, he's strangling Perry. He's gone completely nuts. Well, I mean, if
we're going to introduce a new Doctor. He's going to strangle his companion.
Yeah, that was the thing too. He had such a difficult start because he starts off trying to kill his own companion.
Well, I think what should have happened is that those two should have been in the episode. There should have been no twin dilemma, and it should have been one of those things where she's coming with the dilemma. He used one of his lives to save her. Now she's going to spend time using to save his life. She's going to spend time with him. And no matter what happens or whatever, Perry is trying to get a relationship with the new Doctor, trying to understand it, but he's gone completely ballistic. His regeneration's gone completely mad. I think it should have just been those two together acting it out. And her, if you're going to have the strangulation scene, now it makes sense. She's stuck in the TARDIS. She can't go anywhere. She doesn't even know if this Doctor is good anymore. I think they should have worked on the relationship first and then pulled him into another episode right after. But that's just me. If they were going to do that route, because just doing all that was throwing off people, and then you threw the story in, and that just well, I guess there's no relationship development. This is how it's going to be now. So that's just my opinion on that. So, gosh, again, in a new Who, you said the caretaker. What would be your first? What would you guys introducing Peter Capaldi to somebody? Which episode would you use?
That's a good question.
God, I'm trying to think whether or not I want him with Clara or with Bill and Nardole.
Yeah, because they were such a great team, you know, him, Bill, and Nardole.
Oh, Frost Fair would be a good episode then.
Yeah.
Thin Ice. If you want Bill and Nardole. Well, no, Nardole's not really in that one. But
No, it's mostly Bill.
But I liked him working with Bill. I think I like when we have a new doctor, when they also have a new companion, so that the doctor is kind of showing off more doctory, kind of let me show you everything about the world and time and space and the universe and being that curator of the universe to a companion. And you're not going to really see that with him with Clara, because everything is kind of old hat-ish. So I kind of like the fact that when you have a new companion like Bill, at least he's having that moment to, like, you know, teach, you know. So even though for comedy's sake, but I think that would be a good one.
I actually would go Christmas route. I would actually introduce Dr. Mysterio.
I love that.
I know people either love it or hate it. Go ahead.
I love the episode. It's a terrible Christmas special. But it's a really good.
Oh, no, that's a fair assessment there. Because it just, it didn't really.
But I wanted Christmas.
See,
I love Christmas.
I'm extremely indifferent to it.
That was kind of the big dividing point. It had a great story, but it didn't really focus on Christmas all that much. And
that was all.
I've had a crush. I've had a crush on Justin Chatwin since like 2005, so I was so stoked that he was going to be on Doctor Who. It's like when Ryan Karnes was in Series 3. I was like, of all the American actors to choose, you pick one of the hottest ones. Thank you so much. And he was a big man. So what are you going to do?
What has Justin been in before Doctor Who?
Just like random crap, honestly. He was a major character on Shameless, and he was the Goku in the American Dragon Ball Z movie. I think he was Goku. I don't remember. My husband just made a face. I don't remember what character he was. That movie was terrible, and I never saw it.
So bad.
But just random crap.
Okay. When I first saw Dr. Mysterio, I actually panned it. I was like, this is. But now that I've kind of accepted it, because you're right, I think that was the case, Kevo. It's a nice episode. It wasn't a Christmas episode. Santa was mentioned like 5 seconds, and I think there was a Christmas tree on top, or a mistake
at the very beginning.
Other than that was it. This was a comic book episode. This was a take on DC and Marvel,
and that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, we got another one. Oh, Joseph Rose says Waters of Mars.
Oh, Waters of Mars.
Now that was a good episode.
That's a good episode.
I was actually I got confused for a second because I was going to say, and I promise, Richard, not because you're on the show, but Empress of Mars to introduce 12 and Bill and Nardole and the element of Missy in Series 9, plus it has history and sci-fi with the fact that it's on Mars. So, like, there's a lot of really great classic standalone elements in it, too.
I think it was written as that. I think it was written as an Easter egg for a lot of, well, certainly for Mark and everybody. So we had Isan, we had the Ice Warriors back. He'd been dying to do them again. And I first suggested that, actually, when Christian and I talked about this, because it's a retrospective. And if people criticize the episode, it's because it is very old-fashioned in a lot of ways. But then for those of us that have loved the show for a long time, that was really satisfying. And I even mentioned some of the Peladon links to Peter, and he could quote them better than I knew them. And, you know, he was, I mean, I was even talking to him about somebody who'd been an extra in one of those, who was a supply teacher at my high school. And he could tell me who it was and what they'd done and what they hadn't done, because actually I got the story wrong. I misremembered. And I think it had that lovely texture of being a very Doctor Who family story. But a lot of people just didn't like it, which was kind of interesting. I mean, it is interesting. You know, even the way the guys got squished up and bounced around like rubber balls, some people found fabulous and other people found silly. Yeah, it kind of.
But Doctor Who is silly sometimes.
Yeah, well, that's right. And to me, it was like a kaleidoscope of Doctor Who. So as you turn the kaleidoscope, you see many, many facets. So actually, don't look at any of them too closely or for too long. But it's showing you a shower of things that you can then go off and explore yourself. You know, and you can find the Ice Warriors where they're the meanest things around. Here, they're doing both. It's an odd one, but yeah, kaleidoscope. There you go.
But that's my favorite thing when it came to RTD and Moffat's era. That when they bring back the classic monsters, villains, what do they look like today? What are they doing now? And how does a new Doctor impress upon them? Oh, come on! Classic series, and I saw Alpha Centauri in that monitor, and I geeked out hard. Yeah. Now, new Whovians are not going to know a damn thing about it, but when I saw Alpha Centauri, I'm like, yeah, and that was the original voice of Alpha Centauri. I'm like, Jesus, really? Okay, so that kind of love and attention to detail, and not only that, but classic Who, to bring it back and give a love package, to not only the new Whovians but the classic Whovians who grew up with this stuff. Just people will say, well, it's just like Tom Baker when he was back as a curator. It's just what do they call it? Fan.
Oh, when they say fan service.
Fan service, and I'm just like, I don't care.
Who the heck are you? I don't like the term fan service only because, or I don't like how it's used because people are like, oh, that's just fan service. Well, then who the heck are they selling it to?
Right.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Is it made for somebody who's never seen the show? Oh, that's too fan servicey.
But it's fan service that brings it to say, listen, the folks who loved it and the folks who worked on this show before, you're not forgotten. The love still continues on, and you call it the fan service. I don't care. I think fan service, if you're just going to throw, we mentioned the word Ice Warriors and that's it, and then we don't see the Ice Warriors, we don't see Alpha Centauri, we never get the connection or the dialogue with the new Doctor or anything like that. That to me is more name dropping. But when you're investing a whole episode, or even just having an alien pop up on the screen, just saying a few lines, that means a lot to me. Somebody who grew up classic Who, to see that attention to the classics was honored and brought into the new Who. And not only that, but I think that is a testament to people who come into new Who watch this stuff and go back and watch the old stuff and say, okay, what was this all about? That I think is the way to me, I think the Whoniverse as fandom should function. That old and new work together, watching their favorite show, getting respect from both sides, and encompassing everybody and saying, listen, you may not have seen this before, you're going to see it now. And for those of you who haven't seen it in a long time, you're going to get something as you're watching New Who, because we want to bring you into the New Who. So when stuff like that happens, I geek out hard. When I saw Alpha Centauri, I was like, yeah. I think
well put. Really well put.
And just as much as Tom Baker, it's like, I think maybe that you're right or whatever. I forgot the line there. Yeah, it's just, I love it when
I really think you might, right?
I really think you might. Those moments. Thank you. But
same guy.
But I would just love to see the old stuff come back. We have a ton of classic villains. We got a ton of. I even say, there's more than 3 Time Lords in Gallifrey. What's the Monk doing? What's the Ronnie doing? What's Romana doing? I mean, she had to deal with the Time War. What kind of storyline? That's got to be 3 seasons. Just third Romana, and get Juliet Landau, pull her out of the Big Finish and make her the third.
Romana.
Since she's already got it. She's already got the role. Bring her on in. She did the voice. Let's put her on.
She's great.
She's
awesome. I've always been wanting them to go back to Peladon at least once in the modern series.
Oh, why not?
One on there right now.
And,
how all the characters or the society itself has evolved since the last time we peeked in on it, how many decades ago. I'd love them just to do that just once.
Now, Joseph, Blink is an awesome story. Blink, I think, brought in a lot of people, especially when it comes to the Weeping Angels and bringing them as the monsters. The only thing that I hold against Blink is it was Doctor Who light.
Yeah.
That's
So you're not getting a lot of Doctor out of it. You're getting a lot of Sally Sparrow, which is being influenced by the Doctor. But like I said, it was an awesome story. It brought in the Weeping Angels, and they stuck around. I just don't think if I'm introducing the Doctor, that this story is not that good. But it's a great episode, nonetheless. It's just that I want to show the best of the Doctor and what he's in, like maybe at best 10 minutes.
To me, I always kind of equate Blink on the same line as Love and Monsters, where it's like one was done without it. Both of them don't have a Doctor. One was written beautifully and great for a monster movie, kind of a monster episode. The other one, not so much. It didn't work. That it just actors are great. The writing and everything execution was just, this isn't a Doctor Who.
Well, wait a minute. The monster was created by a studio, wasn't it?
Back when they were doing
so I get the feeling like the writers are going like, okay, this is your monster, and they're like, we don't know what the hell to do with that.
And then it evolved better. But sadly, it evolved into a story of a man and the rock he loves. Okay, sorry.
And then they mentioned, and then he mentions in the camera, he goes like, we even had intimate. I'm like, no, what? No, I don't want to know anymore.
And scary enough, a lot of people don't know this, but Elton was originally supposed to be one of the children of time, but was written out later.
Yeah,
really?
I think he wasn't available.
Yes.
I think it was.
He wasn't available, and they just wrote it out.
Well, his career took off. I knew he was in a series right after that, and I can't think of his name, but I knew he was in a series. I was actually going to watch it. And I never got a chance to do it.
He actually did Band of Brothers right after that.
Possibly. There's so many people who get a career after Doctor Who. There's no way to follow everybody.
Same thing happened with Sally Sparrow. She went on to be, what was it, Oscar-nominated actress?
Yeah, she The Great Gatsby.
Yep.
Yeah, Carey Mulligan, I believe it was, or am I getting the name completely screwed up?
No, Carey Mulligan. You're right.
You have this guy showing up in an episode of Vikings because this person's husband starts watching it and starts going, hey, look, it's Richard. I'm like, who? What? Because I can't freaking connect dots worth a damn. I'm like, right there. I'm like, what? And I start staring. She goes, you follow him on Facebook. I went, huh? And I went, it's Richard.
Richard, we're gonna. I know you got to go. We're going to go ahead and wrap up over here. But Richard is. Where can people follow you? Where can people keep you on your social media or keep a radar on you just in case you get you get stuff going out there so they can keep up with projects and stuff?
Sure, or through the website richardashtonactor.com will always find me. But I'm all over Twitter and Facebook, usually posting silly, inconsequential things. 2021 could be very busy. I'm not too sure whether I'm growing my beard or shaving my head at the moment because there's two movies which are about to collide somewhere in like the third or fourth month of the year. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
No. Well, we wish you the best out there. Please stay safe and please keep us up to date on anything, and we'll bring you back on to whatever your project you're working on. We want to make sure everybody knows about.
I'll let you know when there's something. Yeah.
You got it. Have a good night, Richard. I know it's late over there. I totally know it's late. Yeah, have a good one. Thank you, sir. Ice Warrior.
But yeah, he was on Vikings for a while because my husband was just binge watching it. And I just didn't really care. But then I started kind of watching a little here and there. And I sat down and I'm like, just looking at him, like kind of like, oh, this guy's kind of familiar looking. And my husband was just like,
that voice.
You're joking, right? You do know who that is. I'm like, no, like you're friends with him. Like, who? Richard Ashton. I'm like, oh, I thought the giant in the background was really familiar. Because he's looming over everybody else.
But well, have you ever noticed that it's something that with all the people that we've been with and everybody, they've been on something else, and you don't catch it at first, but then it takes about 2 or 3, and like they're in that.
Yeah, it's not because he's familiar, because my odd brain remembers commercial actors and it's like, oh yeah, that's the person who was in this commercial or that commercial 4 years ago. Right. It's actually wait. He's on the show. Wait a minute.
I know I can't watch the Star Wars movies anymore without going, "Ha! I know you. You were in episode of Doctor Who." You know, it's like the other day. I think I was watching a clip of Empire Strikes Back. And I'm like, Lobot was Professor Sondergaard from the Mutants. Wait a minute. It's like,
well, folks, we're going to go ahead and end everything. Thank you for joining us, everybody on the Wizard World page.
End the show. We're going to end everything. Please start 2021.
Well, we went to the
2020's doppelganger.
I guess I got to be careful what I
Crazy.
say there. If you want to continue everything there, folks, facebook.com, the Traveling TARDIS. We have our classic episodes. We have all of our interviews. Our interview with Richard Ashton. He's been on the show a couple of times out there. Check out Husbands Talking More or Less podcast with Kevo. Check out Brian Burress, better known as Dr. Freedom, on the YouTube channel, and go to Instagram and check out. I can't get the point over there.
I'll get it eventually.
Melanie over at Pieces of Melee on Instagram. Thank you so much, folks. Next week, we're going to have Doctor Who. Oh my God! How did I just forget?
It's whatever Christian comes up with. You could ask the three of us. We have no clue.
We're gonna have Doctor Who.
We're gonna have Doctor Who. It's gonna be Doctor Who. It's gonna be Doctor Who. You're welcome, Joseph. And folks, thank you for everybody at Wizard World, and thank you, Wizard World, for letting us be partners with you guys. We'll see you next week. Please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and become part of